Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me on another video on my channel. And this is my first Google Hangout discussion. And I have a special guest today. We're going to talk about the chart of the U.S.A. And my guest today is Mr. CancVirgo Astrology, aka Seth. Say hello. So just a brief rundown. Can you stop dancing?
I'm just trying to break the tension.
Okay. It worked. Okay, so just a brief rundown of the stats of the chart placements of our great country. The USA has the Sun and Jupiter and Venus and Mercury all in the sign of Cancer. Aw, sweet loving Cancer, right? And we have Mars and Uranus in Gemini. Mars is in the seventh house. Uranus is in the sixth, conjunct the seventh house cusp. We have Neptune in Virgo at 22 degrees. We have the midhaven in Libra, 1 degree. We have Saturn in Libra, 14 degrees. Pluto in Capricorn, interesting, at 27 degrees. We have our moon in Aquarius at 27 degrees in the third house. We also have Chiron at 20 degrees Aries in the fourth house. Very interesting. Okay, so Seth, I am going to let you start with the placements that you wanted to cover. Go ahead.
All right. um, all right. So I guess the first thing I really wanted to talk about was the Cancer conjunction in the seventh house. The big thing about the conjunction that I see is how we deal with social issues, how we deal with compromising, balancing, and harmonizing with each other when we look at what the seventh house represents. And specifically when we look at Venus and Venus's, that's what I'm looking for. Venus's influence on the seventh house. So the main thing that comes to mind when I saw the conjunction was the fact that we are very social conscious. We are very conscious about what's going on with each other, what's going on with us as a people. It kind of seems like most of our attention gets put on what is happening between us and other people. One of the biggest things when we look at what's going on today is everyone seems to be asking the question, why do you care? If somebody's getting married, why do you care? If somebody's doing this with their kids, why do you care? Why does everyone care? Why does everybody care about what's going on in everybody else's lives? There's a Cancer conjunction in the seventh house. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody cares about what's going on with everyone. So we look at the sun, we take pride in where we come from. We take pride in where our family has come from, and that's the USA. We take a lot of pride in the fact that we built this nation together. When we look at our history and the fact that history is important to us. And it's not so much that our culture is so developed. It's more or less that we keep sort of trying to stick with where we came from. Everything goes back to the Constitution, those words that we wrote, that promise that we made over 200 years ago. They're still expecting us to keep that promise. And every time we don't keep that promise, there's an issue with Cancer in the seventh house. It's sort of like you kind of see that those Cancer traits coming out in how America is perceived and how we perceive each other. Do you feel like that makes sense?
Yeah, I sure do. It totally makes sense. Because, the seventh house, like you said, it's all about balance, and it also has to do with the law too. So, and keeping up with the laws of, our roots, like where the laws came from way back in the 1700s. We're still expected to keep up with that. And it's not really that easy, with a country that has been around for this many years, hundreds of years, and we grow and change and develop just like a person. We're looking at this chart as if it was kind of like a person. And even a person, like you grow and progress over time. You don't just stay exactly the same. I mean, we're not going to get into the progress chart of the US, but every person, our chart progresses. There's transits that happen. There's so many changes that happen. So I totally get it. We're expected to stick with that old stuff, original root things and laws, but it's really not that easy. It's like trying to keep us all contained, but yet we're like growing and expanding and trying to gain more freedom to do this and do that, and we're trying to
Exactly.
bust out, and it
It's almost like,
causes,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, it causes so much friction here because of
Mhm.
that. I feel like it does.
Yeah, I feel like you're exactly what you said. It's like trying to get a Cancer mom to let her teenage daughter go out. Like, you know what I mean? Let her go out to a party every once in a while. Let her do what she has to do. Like, it's not going to happen. It's going to be a struggle. Like, she's going to
No,
see.
mija, you stay home with me. You stay home until you're 30.
Exactly. Like, you know your curfew's at 7 o'clock, right? I don't care what you're in college. You know your curfew's 7 o'clock. But like, it's that sort of thing where it's like it becomes nurturing. It's that nurturing energy where really when we all look at it, it doesn't really seem like anybody is coming out to get us. It just really kind of seems like everything comes down to safety. All these restrictions that we feel like we have, all these problems that we end up, social issues that we find between each other and our government in the US, looking at this being Cancer and Capricorn representing the government. Um, it seems like it a lot. That's why a lot of things end up coming down to safety, end up coming down to, I want to control you because I want to keep you safe. And I don't see this as control. I see this as me trying to help you. And with the Sun and Jupiter and Venus there, these are great planets to have in the seventh house. That means that's why everyone says they want to come to America for the American dream. Because once you join this society, what are you exposed to? You're exposed to the Sun, you're exposed to Jupiter, you're exposed to Venus. We're going to try and take care of you. But if you do not love us the way that we love you, we're going to cut you off. There are rules to follow. And Cancer does have that mentality where it's like, if you're not loving me back the way that I feel like I should be, I'm going to stop helping you. And I feel like a lot of things start to happen that way. And it's very easy when you follow Capricorn rules to get ahead in America. But it's just very hard to make your own definition of what success is in America. You're following other people's definitions. The rules are made for you and set forth. And I kind of feel like it's just kind of like that Cancer energy. As long as you follow the rules, do what mom says, you're going to get everything you need. But it's going to be everything mom thinks you need, not everything you think you need. And that's really like what I can really say about that in general.
Yeah, good, great points made about that. So while we're on the subject of the seventh house, I'm going to speak about how I feel about Mars and Gemini in the seventh house. So Mars and Gemini, very interesting energy. Mars and Gemini is a little bit nervous, a little bit scattered. They are multitaskers. They do this, do that, go here, go there. They're total busybodies, right? Mars is your action and your drive. So the way that we as Americans are expected to have, the way our drive is expected to be, is that multitasking busybody. You get up, you get your coffee, you rush into traffic, you rush to work, you get to work, you multitask, you're on the phone, you're on the computer, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're in meetings, and then you get home, jump into traffic, you rush home, you make dinner, you do this, you do. It's just like this crazy fast lifestyle. Excuse me. It's this crazy fast lifestyle. And if you have a drive and sort of the way you take action and initiative is anything less than that, oh, you're looked at as, well, what's wrong with you? You're slow. You need to get with the program. You need to go with the flow. For example, like in my personal experiences with looking for jobs over many years, every job requires you to be able to multitask, to be able to perform well under pressure in a fast-paced environment, and have sales experience. Gemini is the salesperson. The seventh house is also about exchanging of goods and services and selling things to people. Think about the consumerism in this country. Everything is sale, sale, sale. Everybody is trying to sell you something in every job. Even if you want to get a job just helping people, a lot of them, you cannot just help people, especially customer service, which the seventh house also is customer service related. In customer service jobs, you cannot just help people. You have to sell them something. You have to upsell and suggestive, sell. Everything is sell, sell, sell. So I think that Mars and Gemini really speaks a lot about how we're expected to act in this country, and the whole consumerism thing. It's like, it's crazy. And also Gemini is technology. Technology advances so much in this country and other countries too, but I'm just focusing on the US. Like, look at how cell phones are now. It's like you get a cell phone, and then 3 months later, it's like they're announcing the new model. And then you don't even have it for 6 months before you got to go out and get the new one. And everything in technology is like that. And the term gets shorter and shorter and shorter before there's a new and a new and a new and a next new thing and next new thing. And we're all expected to just kind of roll with it. So those of us that still like, the rotary dial telephone, no, we don't we don't do so well in this country. Our flip phones, no. If you have a flip phone, it's like, really? You need to get with this century, okay? Like, what is wrong with you? So we're expected to just move fast, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. So, that's my take on Mars and Gemini. And yeah, the salesperson thing, man, oof, it's just, it's crazy, the whole sales thing.
I can definitely see that. I can definitely see it, like everything you're talking about. It makes perfect sense. And then when you look at Mars being in the 7th house with this Cancer conjunction, and what your points you made on work and the fact that we're expected to get up and be in traffic in this lifestyle, it's sort of like, how do you show that you're a worker? You have to show that you love your job. You have to show how committed you are. You know what I mean? Like you work at McDonald's, but you love it. You come to McDonald's every day and you're happy. Like I'm
loving it.
Exactly. It's that union of like Cancer and Gemini, where it's like, not only do you have to do a million things for this job, you better fucking love it. And the more that you love it, the more that you get out of it. The more that you commit, the more that you get. And then you look at these people who are businessmen and their families are in ruins, but they're top CEOs. What did Jupiter just show you? You made your lifestyle your family, and you succeeded. And you identify with your career, and you will succeed. And keep up. with that Mars placement. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's totally crazy. It's for a lot of us who we don't really have that type of an energy within ourselves, like the Mars and Gemini, the fast pace, it is kind of hard to keep up with that type of lifestyle. And unfortunately, we're looked down upon. What's wrong with you? And you're supposed to love your job, right? And if you're not smiling, hi, how can I help you? Then it's just like, oh, you don't like your job? What's wrong? Like, oh my God, really? I'm just here to work. Leave me alone. Sorry, I'm going off on a personal rant. But anyway, I see that play out every day in everyday life.
Yeah, I think we all do. I think to some extent we all can see what's going on. And I mean, I feel like it would say something if you can't see it. We're talking about the 7th house. This is what we're all dealing with. This is what we're all seeing to some extent. We're all a part of it.
Right.
But I guess that's the whole beauty of astrology. When you start to see these things and feel and understand that you're a part of it and resonate with the information, you start to feel like, I have control over what's going on with me. I have choices I can make. I have a lot of choices. Mars is in Gemini. I have a lot of things that I can do and ways that I can make things work. So I feel like that's definitely a great thing to keep in mind. Now, one thing would be Venus here. And I feel like a lot of the idea of having a lucrative career, having a career that you can brag about, having a career that you can tell all your friends about and something that everybody's going to look up to you for and you can take care of your family with is a big thing there. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the relationship between the Libra midheaven and Saturn being there and Venus being in the 7th house. They're exchanging energy. Venus is the ruler of the midheaven. So like if you're going to focus on your career, you need to make sure that you can work it out. When you're in your career, it's certainly a social thing. If you want to get ahead, it's about what friends did you make? What connections did you make? How good are you at your job? When a camera comes on, how are you going to present yourself? There's a big deal about celebrity here. We treat celebrities like idols in the U.S. And it's usually the ones we idolize the celebrities who have their shit together, know how to deal with the media, they know how to carry themselves well in front of the camera, and that's usually all that matters. Unless you do something super extreme, you can do whatever the fuck you want when you're a celebrity. Just as soon as that camera comes on and you're in an interview, be polite, be gracious, be charming, or else we won't like you. Or if you're cheating, if you broke up a family. How many gold diggers and home wreckers do we know are celebrities right now, but we don't care because they're charming and they're beautiful and they know how to act in front of a camera. And I think there's a lot to be said about celebrity in our society and the fact that Libra is ruling over our midheavens, where it's when you die, the legacy that you're going to leave behind has a lot to do with who did you know? Who were you friends with? Who did you marry? Did everyone know you? Did you have a lot of friends? And it's like, that's the legacy. This is what the things are going to surround. And if it's not that, it's going to be one extreme or the other. Are you going to be an extremely good person or an extremely evil person? Or are you going to be a representation of what Libra represents? Those are the three main things that we pay attention to. One extreme or the other, or everything about you that's superficial. And I kind of feel like, and I kind of feel like it's life. It is what it is. But I feel like there's a lot of us who can take that and make it something good. We can take it and bring it to two extremes. And we have, and we see it in our society. The way that other people see us, other countries talk about us when we're looking at the midheaven. And some people think, oh, America's a great place. We go there, you can be anybody, you can be a celebrity, you can be this. They love all of this Libra energy. Then there are people out there who say that Americans are stupid. We're not smart. We're not very cultured. We're very into ourselves and what we look like and what's going on here. The other extreme of what Libra and Venus energy can do. And then there's that idea that we're out to help everyone. That idea that we're going around just helping everyone that we can. We're trying to update you and bring you up to speed. We're trying to bring you up to speed with medicine. We're trying to bring you up to speed with your careers. We're trying to come in and help you join us. And that idea of creating a network of acquaintances that can all work together and make something work. The plane. I'm going to take that as a symbol that I said too much. But go ahead.
No, I'm trying to block out the stupid airplane.
Oh, no, straight.
I cannot film a video without having like hella noise. Shit. Okay. Yeah, I think those are awesome points about the Libra midheaven. And, you know, as people who study astrology, you know, the midheaven is the top of the chart. It's like your public image. It can represent like your career. Like it can represent kind of like the outer world. And the opposite of that is the fourth house and the IC, which is family life and home. And if you know America, you know those ideas that we have about home and family, although we have the sun and the conjunction of other planets in Cancer, which is all about home and family and nurturing and mothering and all those things, family dynamics and everything being positive. But so we mean well, we mean well, but we have Chiron in Aries in our fourth house. So Chiron, you know, is a wounded healer. We've been wounded and we try to heal from it by helping others. Aries is a sign of I am, me, myself, and I. You know, it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's kind of like on a negative side, it could be a selfish energy, but it's also about your identity, okay? It's about where you come from. Like, I am this type of person from this country, and I am proud of it. And I'm proud of my identity. This is all me. So people have come to this country. You know, we said, give us your tired and your poor. That's what our Cancer sun says. Come on in, everybody. We're going to take care of you, you know. But then when people come here and they live here and they're from other countries, unfortunately, they're not always celebrated. Like their roots are not always celebrated and recognized and respected. For example, I'm not going to get too deep into all this political controversial stuff, but look at, okay, slavery, you know, what happened with African Americans over history and still today. with their identity. I am and I'm proud. Well, that's kind of been pushed down and beaten down. Other nationalities that come here and immigrate here, you know, look at New York in the early days. They had Italians and all these people from European and other countries. They come in and you hear their stories of struggle when they first get here to be accepted for who they are and where they come from. Even nowadays, people come here from other countries, and if they have an accent or they don't fully speak English, Americans will get so mad. I am American, and who are you? And you have this accent. Why don't you speak English? You know, why don't you speak English properly? Those are struggles that are apparent here in this country, even still today. And I think that's kind of a wound that people suffer when they build a home and family life here in America, but they've come from somewhere else. There's so much I can touch on with the racial thing, but I don't really like to get too deep in it. But that is something that Chiron in Aries in the 4th house can show. And just look at today. Just look at today, you know, what's going on right now. Chiron is in Aries in our natal chart of our country at 20 degrees, right? Where is Uranus right now? Uranus, the planet of change, extreme change and transformation and sudden events and being outside the box and kind of being, you know, not with the norm. It's at 20 degrees Aries. What's going on in the news right now? Currently, as we film this video, there's this thing with Rachel Dolezal, a racial identity issue. There's this thing with Caitlyn Jenner, a gender identity, I don't want to say issue, but, you know, subject that has come into the American media and mainstream. Look at all the things that are going on with all this racial tension coming to light. And I know that has to do with Pluto and Uranus squared, because Pluto and Capricorn is like the law and like, you know, this is the way. And Pluto is like, hey, if you don't follow these rules, you die. It's not just like Saturn where it's like, well, if you don't follow the rules, I'm going to teach you a lesson and there's consequences. Pluto is like life or death. So if you don't follow the law, then you die. And Uranus and Aries in our 4th house is like, look, this is who we are. This is our identity. And why are you trying to, you know, punish us for having it? Like, and kill, you know, people are being killed right now over racial stuff. And I know that happens a lot through history, but it's just, I feel like Uranus being conjunct Chiron in the 4th house, and Uranus also represents like mass media and the airwaves, just like it's sign that it rules Aquarius. So it's like being brought out to the mass media and the airwaves, being brought out. There's more attention on it right now. So, and also the gay marriage thing that just happened, that is an outside of the box type of family dynamic. So that is something that is being brought to light, I feel, by this exact conjunction of Uranus and Aries with our Chiron in the 4th house. It is something to celebrate for a lot of people, but you know, then there's the people that feel the opposite way, like what's really now going to happen with the family dynamics of this country. So I feel like that is, you know, how this Chiron in the 4th and Aries can play out. You know, we all come from different places. A lot of us do. We want to be proud, but a lot of times when we're too proud, we're shut down, and it's an ongoing problem. And unfortunately, I feel like it always will be to an extent, just because this is just a part of America based on America's birth date and time, you know. Hopefully in the future we can heal from this wound, but this is just kind of up until now in history what I see how this has affected us.
That's great. I really like that interpretation. Like, you can definitely tell you have a lot of 7th house energy. you just go right into like society, like what is going on with the people.
With the people, I'm all about the people.
Exactly. I think that's amazing. I feel like it the same exact way with that whole thing with like, especially when you bring up gay marriage and the idea of everyone's talking about family values, defining the family. And you see Aries and it's all about definition. We need to define ourselves. And it seems like anything that's different is something we need to shoot down because you're trying to redefine us. We already know, like, I don't know. I just feel like you're so right with that Chiron placement. It's like everybody wants to be American. What does it mean to be American? That we had slaves, that we butchered Indians, that a lot of war brought this country into being. Aries, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We did a lot of fucked up shit. So if you want to own being American, you have to own all of it. And then when people come around and they start changing things and you haven't even settled owning what we have to own from our history, then we have issues. And how do we deal with those issues? Like in Aries, we fight. So it's like, you know what I mean?
That's so true. And you know
yeah.
what? If you look at a natal chart of a person and you look at Aries being on the IC and covering the fourth house of home and family, a lot of times it's defined and interpreted as, you know, your mother or your early home and family life may have been kind of combative, and your mother may have been warlike. You know, there has been a lot of war in this country, and it does affect family dynamics because people go off to war, people are killed, and then they have families at home that have to suffer a wound along with them. So it totally plays out in that way too.
Definitely. And you can definitely see the connection between media and what goes on in our homes, and the connection between media and how we discuss it and go about it with Aquarius ruling, like you said, Aquarius is ruling mass media. It's in our third house. We have Gemini on the seventh house cusp with Mars in there connecting it to the fourth house, whereas it's like these are all the things we talk about. This is what we're going to debate. This is what we're going to want to exchange ideas and look at abstract ideas about. And I think it's fun. I feel like it's healthy. I feel like this is a great country. Every country has its problems. Every country has its chart, just like every person. We all have Chiron somewhere. We all have Scorpio somewhere. We all got our demons. We all have all these things that we have to deal with, and our country is one of them. And I just feel like it's fun to look at. It's a lot of fun to look at. It's a lot of fun to digest and really take in and look around you and see how this chart plays out. And I loved hearing your interpretations. I feel like you're really good.
Oh, thank you. Same to you. You're always such a dope speaker. That's why I had to invite you into this discussion. So, all right. Well, for me, that wraps it up for this part of this chart reading segment and video. So I really appreciate you, Seth. Thanks for agreeing to join me, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. And happy U.S.A. Day.
Word, happy U.S.A. Thanks for inviting me.